Hey hockey players and hockey parents, in this video I'm going to be running you through a body weight only off-season workout that's great to perform immediately once the off-season begins. Now, in between that transitionary period between phase one of the off-season and just finishing your in-season or your playoffs, there's that transitionary 1 to 2 week period where you want to be involved in active recovery, but you still want to make it hockey specific. During this time, I have my athletes go through something known as the regeneration phase. The regeneration phase is built to offset a lot of the issues that a long competitive hockey season can create. Certain issues such as tightnesses in certain areas of the body, structural imbalances in strength and in size from left side to right side, but also lower body to upper body. Hockey is a unilateral sport, meaning you're only ever playing on one side of your body. You're shooting on one side of your body. You're accelerating on one side. You're decelerating on one side. You're receiving and passing on one side. So when you're always performing something on one side of your body, it's very natural that you're going to create structural imbalances, and these need to be corrected immediately if you want to have the most productive off season you've ever had. I'm going to show you how to get it done here. We're going to run through a workout. I've got it right here on my phone. And the first thing that we're going to do is a superset between Russian step-ups and stability ball hamstring curls. Now, don't worry at all about the sets, reps, and rest, because I'm going to have all of that information for you in the description right below this video. But first off, we're going to start with Russian step-ups. We're going to be doing 12 reps here. Russian step up, you typically want an elevation because we're going to be stepping up, but you don't want it to be a whole lot higher than your knee. You want it to be at about knee height or just below. You're going to plant your 1 foot strong. You're going to have a good posture here. You're going to have your hands up, and then I'm going to drive this leg straight up. Drive my knee up, back down. Drive my knee up, back down. Why am I having you perform this exercise? Well, during the season and through the biomechanics of a skating stride, your toes are pointed slightly outwards, and you're going to press down and backwards into the ice to keep skating, to keep doing that skating stride motion forward. But since your toes aren't pointed forward, you create a structural imbalance in the quadriceps. Hockey athletes post-season have a very overdeveloped vastus lateralis, which is this side muscle on the thigh, normally a really big meaty part of the thigh on hockey players, yet they have a vastly underdeveloped vastus medialis oblique, which is that teardrop muscle on the inside of your knee. We're starting with Russian step-ups because it really helps strengthen and grow the vastus medialis oblique that's underdeveloped in hockey players. This is important to care about because this is one of the primary knee stabilizers, meaning it's not really surprising that a lot of hockey athletes run into ACL, MCL, LCL issues because one of their prime stabilizers is losing the structural balance war to the vastus lateralis. This is producing forces at levels that your stabilizers can't handle. So immediately in the off season, we got to work to build this up, restabilize the knee so we can balance out our movement and prevent any injury with our dryland training or out in the ice. We're going to superset this exercise with stability ball hamstring curls. We're going to be performing 12 reps here as well. You're going to have you guys come to the ground here, and we're going to do stability ball hamstring curls. This is where we're on the stability ball with both legs. We're going to have our hands nice and strong on the ground. You want to have a nice tight core, have your hands nice and strong on the ground, because if you don't, you might go all over the place. And although that might be a stabilization challenge for the core, it's not the point of a hamstring curl. So stay nice and strong here, have a nice tight core, curl all the way in and then out, all the way in and then out. And notice my toes are pointed straight up. That's the opposite of a skating stride, right? When you're skating, your toes are pointed slightly out, just like I talked about previously, out and back. This doesn't just create an imbalance in the quadricep, it also creates an imbalance in the hamstrings. The hamstrings are actually a group of muscles. Primarily, you have your semitendinosus, your semimembranosus, and your biceps femoris, all attached in the hamstring area. The problem is, When you have your ankle articulation pointed outwards like a skating stride, you're overdeveloping your biceps femoris muscle in your hamstring, and naturally your semitendinosus and your semimembranosus become weak and underdeveloped. Therefore, we have another structural imbalance we need to take care of immediately in the beginning of the off season. Why is that also important to care about? Because your hamstrings are also a knee stabilizer. Not to mention your hamstrings are also a hip extensor, which is very important for explosive speed. We gotta know all this stuff if we're gonna truly train in a hockey specific way, even immediately, first thing we do in the off season. Understanding what issues hockey players go through is a major part of actually being able to program specifically for the hockey player, because you're only ever as strong as your weakest link in the chain. That's the first two exercises found in the first superset as Russian step-ups with stability ball hamstring curl. Our next superset is going to be front foot elevated split squat on either a BOSU ball or an inflatable disc. And we're going to superset that with stability ball single leg hamstring curls. Now, the split squat on inflated disc, I want you to pause at the bottom for 1 second. We're going to perform 12 reps here per leg. And what you're going to do, I'm using an inflated disc, but you could also use a BOSU ball, which is one of those like half stability ball type of equipment. You want to have your foot right center in the inflated disc. Be back a little bit. You're going to see there's already a bit of a balance challenge here, and my ankle is kind of forced to work. You keep a good posture. You come down. You pause for 1 second, and then you go back up. Come down. Pause for 1 second. Back up, down, up. Now, when I'm down, you probably already noticed, I'm pausing here, and my ankle stabilizing muscles are really forced to work here. You can see my ankles kind of moving, even though I'm still in one position. Why is that? Because there's muscles that are just dedicated to stabilizing certain joint structures. And don't you think it's important to have a stable ankle if you want to get deep on your inside and outside edges? Ankle stability is huge for being an elite skater. Yet, throughout an entire competitive season, you are stuck in a skating boot. That is a skating boot, is a right angle, we tie it nice and tight, and because of that, we're not forced to use a lot of ankle stability out in the ice. So our ankle stabilizing muscles get a little bit weak and underdeveloped as the season goes on. So right in the off season, right away, we need to correct that issue by doing something like this and forcing the ankle to stabilize itself so that we can improve our edge work and just create more balance in our movement. We're supersetting that exercise. You would do 12 per leg there. We're supersetting that with a single leg hamstring curl on stability ball. This is the exact same principle. You're going to be here with 1 foot on the stability ball, still nice and strong on the ground. And if you notice something I didn't point out previously that I should have, is that you want your butt off the ground, right? This isn't a hamstring curl. You want to bridge your butt off the ground, get this leg off the ground, curl. Nice in control, back in, out, back in. Why am I doing the same exercise again, but with single leg? Well, first off, there's a big structural balance issue that we have to correct. So I would prefer 2 hamstring exercises in 1 workout rather than 1. But beyond that, I also like a unilateral aspect of training, because when you only train 1 body part at a time in terms of left to right, you're able to remedy structural balance issues. If I've got 1 hamstring stronger than the other, well, when I train them separately, I can correct that imbalance. It's just like if you had a bench press. If I was bench pressing with a bar and my right arm was stronger than my left, well, my right arm can really make up for my weakness in my left. You see that in the squat a lot too. Barbell back squat. Right leg stronger than left, doesn't really matter. It picks up the slack for the left leg. That might be okay if you want to be a good weightlifter, but it's terrible if you want to be a good hockey player. You need to be equally strong on both sides of your body, especially with the hamstring, if you want to make sure you have no dominant takeoff leg out in the ice. When we create unilateral strength on both sides of the body, it doesn't matter what position you're in, where's your takeoff leg, or what you're doing, you're going to be in a position where you're equally strong and equally as ready to absolutely explode into another direction out in the ice. So that's our second superset that we're going to be doing in this workout. And I want you to follow me here because we're going to start a tricep next. All right, so we made it here. We're going to be doing a tricep now. The first 2 groups that we did were supersets, meaning it's 2 exercises, but this one's a tricep, so we're going to be doing 3 exercises back to back to back. The first one we're going to do is scapula retractions from a pull-up bar. So we're going to get ourselves up on the pull-up bar here, and we're going to take a pronated position that's not on an angle. We're going to take just a straight up pronated position here. Just like this. Doesn't matter if your thumb is over or under because we're working on our scapula here, our scapular retraction. You're going to here, and then you're just going to allow yourself to hang, and you're actually going to bring your scapula together. Scapula meaning just shoulder blades, and then back down. Up, down, up, and down. You're going to be performing that movement, and I kind of want you to feel like it's almost like this, like almost like you're going into supination, your hands coming up. You really want to dig your shoulder blades down and back in you. And the reason why we're doing this is because there's a lot of rotator cuff imbalances created in hockey players because you've got one hand an internal rotation holding a stick and the other hand an external rotation holding a stick all season long. So we've got internal flexion and tightness, we've got external, and it just creates an imbalance. So I really like to rebalance the scapula and specifically the muscles of the rotator cuff back into position because there's a lot of flexion that occurs with the season, and you're actually going to see this in young hockey athletes who have what I call bat wings. They've got their shoulder blades that stick right out of their back. If they're just standing there or if they're doing a push-up, they've got these 2 absolute bat wings that stick out of the top of their back, and that's when you really know that you need to do a little bit more scapular retraction work in order to create balance in their upper back, which is going to play a large role in hockey performance. You're going to do 12 of those, and then once you finish those 12, you're just going to move into the traditional push-up. Traditional push-up being here. If you have trouble with push-ups, you can widen your stance, which is going to widen your base of support and make it a lot easier. But if you do have a strong upper body, you can narrow it and bring it right back down and up. You should be doing exactly that. All the way down, but not resting on the ground. I'm still above the ground. Here, and then into full extension. You don't want to be one of the head bobbers here, and you also don't want to be one of the resters and then coming back up. Your traditional push-up should just be like that, and if you have problems with that, widen the base of support, or just come down on your knees and press there to reduce the total resistance being applied to your upper body musculature that's involved in the push-up. We want to get that push-up motion going. We're doing a total body workout here. It's very important to have strong pressing muscles to stay strong in the puck, stay strong in front of the net. Once we've got 12 of those done, then we're going to move on to shoulder Ys. So shoulder Ys are going to be right after your push-up. So you're going to finish your final push-up and then go down and move into a shoulder Y, which is thumbs up. Just think open can. If you were to have a can with fluid in it, then your hand should actually be up. It wouldn't be here or it would spill, and it wouldn't be here or it would definitely spill. So think open can for your shoulder Ys and just come up, bring your shoulder blades together, contract, down. Don't touch the ground. Up, contract, down. Up, contract, down. That's going to help work on a lot of the rotator cuff imbalances that the scapular retraction on pull-up bar was doing, but from a different angle and articulation to make sure we get complete development, because there's a lot of musculature going on in the upper back and just around the shoulder capsule in general. It's a very complex joint that has ranges of motion that a lot of other, say, hinge joints in our body do not have. So you got to train them from a lot of different angles. But that's the tricep. Our scapular retractions, our push-ups, and our shoulder Ys. You're going to do 12 of each, which leads us into our very last exercise of the workout, which is plank with lower body rotations. I'm going to have you come to the ground with me one last time, and we're going to do 12 per side of plank with lower body rotation. I really like the plank because it strengthens certain deep hip muscles that actually allow us to more easily perform mohawk turns. A lot of people don't know mohawk turns aren't just a hip mobility issue, and very often it is a hip stability issue. And planks
really help strengthen the certain musculature that essentially tell your body that it's okay to open up and unlock your hips, and that it's still going to be a safe and effective position to do so. So you want to be in a plank, which is going to help with a myriad of things involved in core stability. But now we're also going to introduce lower body rotations, 12 per side. Why are we rotating? Because hockey involves a lot of rotation while you're skating and while you're shooting, but also so we don't just get a stability effect, but we get a unilateral stability effect, because we developed structural imbalances throughout the core all season long because of that unilateral nature of hockey. All right? That is the body weight only regeneration workout taken from the brand new off-season youth program that you can find at hockeytraining.com/programs. If you found this video helpful and you want me to walk through more videos like this, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and also subscribe to our channel. And if you're a hockey player, coach, or parent, you want to make sure you click on that link in the comments section below and download the MVP Youth Hockey Package. Let's go.